A lot of people are getting really nervous about the next big financial crisis. But what if the real solution isn't some hot stock tip, but something inside your own head? We're about to unpack a pretty powerful idea that true financial stability doesn't come from following experts, but from a radical shift in how you think for yourself. Let's just start with this, because it hits hard. The speaker argues these two things are completely tied together. See, financial trouble isn't just about an empty bank account. It creates this dependency that just feeds anxiety. So that search for financial freedom, at its core, it's really a search for peace of mind. And let's be honest, it's a feeling a lot of us have right now, isn't it? This general sense of unease about the economy, about what's coming next. There's just a lot of anxiety in the air. The big question is, where do you even turn when everything feels this shaky? And this gets right to the heart of the whole thing. We're basically taught to build our financial lives on this shaky ground of hot tips and so-called expert advice. But real stability, the kind that can handle any storm that comes its way, has to be built from the ground up, brick by brick, from your own personal, deep understanding. Okay, so if understanding is the key, why is it so hard to come by? Well, that's a great question, and it brings us straight to the next huge point. The very places we go looking for answers are often a huge part of the problem. Let's break this down because it's important. On one side, you've got the information that just finds you. The endless scroll on your phone, the news alerts, the YouTube feed. You're passive, and it almost always has an agenda. But on the other side, that's the information that you go out and find. That's the result of real active research. Getting this difference, well, it changes everything. So what's the agenda of that mainstream stuff? Spoiler alert, it's not to make you smarter. It's to keep your eyes glued to the screen. They do it by hitting you with emotional triggers. Fear, greed, that pain and pleasure cycle. One day the expert says buy, the next day the same expert says sell. It's a recipe for nonstop anxiety, not for actual clarity. And this analogy just nails the result, doesn't it? Most of the financial debates you see on TV or online are exactly like this. People are just yelling past each other, arguing with all this passion about stuff they don't actually fundamentally get. They never stop to ask the really basic questions, like what even is a real asset versus a fake one? All right, so if we can't trust the info that's shoved in our faces, how are we supposed to find the truth ourselves? This is where we make a big pivot. We're moving from the problem to the solution. A clear, step-by-step method for building knowledge that you can actually trust. So here's the playbook, a 4-step framework to cut through all that noise. First, you start with the big, simple, foundational questions that nobody ever seems to ask. Second, you use modern tools like AI to gather a ton of information really fast. But, and this is absolutely critical, you do not stop there. Step 3 is you verify everything yourself with primary sources, the actual raw data. And finally, step 4, you question everything, especially your own conclusions. It's a never-ending cycle of learning. This is question number 1, the foundation of everything. It sounds so simple, right? But seriously, think about it for a second. Could you really answer that question right now? We spend our entire lives chasing it, but do we actually know what money is? Is the number you see in your bank account a real thing, a real store of value, or is it just a placeholder? And that one simple question leads you right here. See, the speaker's definition of inflation isn't just prices go up. That's the symptom. The disease is the currency supply itself expanding. When governments print more of it, the value of every dollar you've saved goes down. It's a tax you never see on a receipt, but you feel it every single day. And it's a tax that absolutely crushes the average person. Okay, so that's the theory. But how does this research method actually work in the real world? Well, the speaker took this exact 4-step process and applied it to one of the most confusing topics out there, precious metals. And what they discovered, especially about silver, was wow. It was not what you'd expect. Now, this table really lays out the core argument. Look at the foundation. Gold's value is basically a powerful belief system. It's valuable because we all agree it is. But silver? Its value is based on cold, hard industrial reality. And now look at demand. Gold's demand is elastic. Think about jewelry. If the price goes way up, people stop buying it. But silver's demand for technology is inelastic. It's not just wanted. It is absolutely, positively required. And this is what inelastic demand really means. These massive industries, they need silver. It's the best conductor of electricity and heat on the planet. If you want to build the future, if you want AI, solar power, robotics, you have to have silver. The demand isn't optional. And it's not just tech companies that have figured this out. Governments are waking up to it too. The US government has officially put silver on the list of critical minerals. That changes the game. This isn't about jewelry or investing anymore. This is about national security. It's about economic survival. Now this is the crucial data point. Just look at that number. For 5 straight years, the world has physically used more silver than we've been able to mine and recycle. Just let that sink in. We are running a physical deficit. And at the same time, demand from all those critical industries we just saw is absolutely exploding. So the obvious question is, if we're in a physical shortage, why isn't the price skyrocketing? Well, the argument is that the paper market is completely distorting things. This is where contracts for silver are traded back and forth in volumes that are hundreds of times larger than the amount of actual physical silver that exists. This flood of paper, they argue, has pushed the real price down, creating this huge disconnect between the price on Wall Street and the reality on the ground. Look, this whole deep dive on silver isn't just a stock tip. That's not the point. It's a demonstration of a process. The real goal here isn't to get you to buy silver. It's to convince you to start thinking for yourself and to build your own personal path to stability. And this brings us right back to the heart of the message. The way the speaker frames it, this isn't some fun financial game. This is about preparation. It's about survival. And it's a warning that's being given not to scare you, but out of a sense of compassion for people who might get caught completely off guard. And this is really what it all boils down to. The most valuable asset you can possibly own isn't gold, it isn't silver, it isn't some stock. It's the knowledge that you built yourself piece by piece through your own hard work. That understanding gives you the clarity and the confidence to make your move when everyone else is panicking. So we'll leave you with a little homework, the exact same question the speaker posed to start this journey. What is the most undervalued asset in the world? Go down the rabbit hole, ask the big questions, because in a world that feels increasingly unstable, the only truly stable ground is the understanding that you build for yourself.